Everyone thinks a 40 amp MPPT is a 40 amp MPPT, but here's the thing, the Renogy Rover 40A can be both a lifesaver and a landmine because the headline specs don't tell you where it quietly crushes and where it quietly compromises. Most people see 99% tracking efficiency and 98% peak conversion and assume set it and forget it. I did too. But after 2 weeks of testing with a 400W array on my van system and a 24V cabin bank, what I found flipped my buying order upside down. It nailed cloudy day harvest and even revived a 0-volt lithium pack, yet the app experience and system limits demand respect. Curious? Good, because the price, the performance, and one sneaky ceiling make this more nuanced than the 4.3-star Amazon rating suggests. Before we dive into what I discovered in the real world, quick heads up. If you're already convinced and want to grab it at the best current price, I've got the link below. It's sitting around 172.63 as I'm filming, but stick around because the way you configure this could make or break your results. Look, here's the deal. I needed a reliable controller for 2 jobs. Daily driving a 12V van setup and testing a 24V battery bank at my off-grid shed. I've been burned by cheap MPPTs that popped fuses under load and by a PWM that starved my batteries on cloudy weekends. I wanted silent cooling, true MPPT tracking, and a controller that could handle both sealed lead acid and custom lithium profiles without sneaky float voltages. The Rover 40A looked perfect on paper. Auto detects 1224V, 4-stage charging for lead acid, 2-stage with lithium reactivation, negative grounded architecture for vehicle builds, load terminals with 5 modes, and a passive heatsink so it runs 0 dB. I was skeptical though. At this price point, it's duking it out with budget EPVER units and nipping at the heels of Victron. So I lined up a 2x200W series array, a 100Ah Li-Fi PO4, an older 100Ah AGM, and a clamp meter. No marketing fluff, just amps, temps, and time. Test 1, cloudy day tracking. With my 2 200W panels in series feeding a 12V AGM at 50% state of charge, thin clouds rolled in right at noon. The array input hovered around 360W according to my inline meter. The Rover settled into 13.8V at roughly 24A out, about 331W, riding the panels shifting VMP without hunting or pulsing. That's exactly what I want from MPPT under variable light, but then I pushed it by partially shading one panel. Many budget controllers choke and drop off a cliff. The Rover didn't hit max numbers, obviously, but it kept optimizing, bouncing between 140–220W in a way that felt deliberate, not panicked. It wasn't magic, but it was confident. Test 2, 0-volt recovery. I intentionally tripped the BMS on a 100Ah Li-Fi PO4 pack to simulate a dead battery scenario. The Rover's lithium reactivation sent a small waking current, and after about a minute and a half, the BMS reopened and bulk charging kicked in. That's huge if you've ever come back to a storage system that fell asleep in winter. But then, small caution, you still need to manually set the custom lithium profile correctly. I dialed absorption to 14.4V and float to 13.6V via the controller panel and confirmed in the app. If you leave defaults mismatched to your battery, you can either undercharge or slightly overstress cells. Details matter. Test 3, heat and silence. In the van cabinet at 95 degrees F ambient, I hammered a 24V bank on a sunny afternoon. The Rover held 3840A without thermal throttling. Case temperature peaked around 57 degrees C on my IR thermometer. No fan, no whine, just a chunky heatsink doing its job. But then here's the catch, you must respect the PV voltage ceiling. The Rover is rated for 100V open circuit max. On cold mornings, your panel VOC rises. My winter array VOC is 86V safe. If you're stacking higher voltage strings, you could blow past 100V on a frosty day and nuke the controller. That's a hard limitation, not a suggestion. Test 4, load output and automation. I wired a 20W fan to the load terminals and set a dusked-on mode. The controller transitioned cleanly when array voltage fell off, ran the fan overnight, and cut out properly at my set low voltage threshold. Handy for lights, routers, or small fans. But then I hit the app quirks. Using the Renogy DC Home app with the BT2 module, I could monitor and tweak parameters from my phone. It worked, but the Bluetooth range wasn't great past a couple walls, and historical data felt thin, more daily roll-ups than deep dive graphs. Good enough for casual oversight, not a data geek's paradise. Here's where it gets interesting. The most surprising thing wasn't raw amps, it was consistency. Over 2 weeks, across both 12V and 24V banks, the Rover behaved predictably. It tracked MPPT quickly without oscillation, it woke a protected lithium pack without a bench charger, and it stayed silent under load. That reliability builds trust. I clocked roughly 7.8 kWh harvested across 4 mixed-weather days on the 24V setup with 400 W of panels, which lined up with my parallel clamp meter readings and a separate shunt. Not lab-grade, but enough to convince me the 98% peak conversion claim isn't marketing vapor when conditions are right. Compared to alternatives, here's the straight talk. Versus a cheaper EPEVER 40A, the Rover's UI is a hair simpler, and its lithium reactivation felt more decisive in my testing. Versus a Victron Smart Solar 130 or 150, Victron's app, logging, and ecosystem win, hands down. If you live in your data, Victron spoils you, but you'll pay more. The Rover at around 172.63 sits in a sweet spot for systems up to roughly 520 W on 12V or 1040 W on 24V. Just design under that 100V PV ceiling, set custom lithium parameters properly, and you'll squeeze real performance from it. Is it too good to be true? No, it's exactly as good as your system design and settings. Now that you know it can revive a 0-volt lithium and track clouds like a grown-up controller, you'll want to grab it before spring demand spikes and prices creep. I dropped a link in the description with the best current pricing and bundle options. Check whether your listing includes the Bluetooth module. Bottom line, the Renogy Rover 40A is a workhorse controller for people who value silent operation, dependable MPPT, and flexible battery support without paying blue-chip prices. If you're building a 12V van or a modest 24V cabin system and can live with a basic app and a 100V PV limit, buy with confidence. If you need deep analytics, rock-solid long-range Bluetooth, or plan to run high-vox strings, lean Victron or a 150V rated unit. For everyone else, this hits the sweet spot: predictable power, zero fan noise, and enough brains to protect and feed your batteries day in, day out.